Now, for today's panel discussion, our panelists are present with us, and I'm going to take just a few minutes because I know you want me to stop speaking and our panelists to just jump right in. I'm going to take a few minutes for introducing our honorable speakers and mentors. Now, our mentors are going to be in the panel discussion are going to be Dr. IQBAL Ahmed, who we've had the pleasure of having with us, is the director and director of a training collaboration IPR Cell, Acharya Institute, Bengaluru, Karnataka. The second panelist is going to be KRISHNAGANDHI P, who is the assistant professor, Nandha Engineering College, Tamil Nadu. And our third panelist is going to be Devi Mahalakshmi. She is the associate professor of MEPCO Schenk Engineering College, Tamil Nadu. Our fourth panelist is going to be Dr. V.B. MATHIPURANI. We've had the pleasure of having her with us. She is an entrepreneur, educator, innovation ambassador, and vice president, IIC-PSG College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Last but not least, our panelist is going to be Dr. Anurag S.D. Rai, the director of LNCT Group Incubation Center, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. Perfect. So everybody is present with us. We welcome you with our and we are so glad that you made this time to be with us today to teach our audience today. And your topic, as all of us must know, is the role of innovation in education, finally to achieve Make in India. Perfect. So we are all ready, and our panelists are present with us. So we are going to start with our honorable speaker, Dr. IQBAL Ahmed. So with due respect, sir, would you like to start all us off, and what would you like to start all off with?
Well, I would start off. How much time would I have? Time do you want me to take on this?
So it's a panel discussion. Take all of the time you want. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, fine. Good. Now, see, the challenges that are there is that, first of all, a recent evaluation of the... See, I might have to repeat some of the things that I spoke yesterday. Okay. Now, a recent evaluation of the universities and research institutes all over the world done by... See, there are various rankings. One is Q.S. ranking, Shanghai University ranking, various rankings are there. And in that ranking, not a single Indian university was there in the world's top 300, while China had 6. Now, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore comes somewhere in the top 400. And IIT Kharagpur makes its appearance after that. Okay. Now, see, there are a lot of things. The challenges are that we are still in the primitive age. We still follow the chalk and dust. Okay. And we have not used the digital tools that are essential. Because I mentioned yesterday that technology should transform learner outcomes. And see, it is not professor-centric or it is not faculty-centric. It has to be learner-centric. Okay, and the new pedagogy requires students to create new knowledge and connect it to the world by using the power of digital tools. Okay, now social networking is used to connect, collaborate, learn and create. Okay, industry is looking for the top talents. And industry is not, see, the skills that are imparted are not compatible with the requirements of the industry. And industry wants the best of the people. Okay, a lot of problems are there and digital tools are not being used at all. Okay, now the challenges, see, I don't want to get more into deep into this. This has been debated by all the experts in the academia and they have come out with various solutions. Let me talk about the solutions that the government of India has offered. See, because either we innovate or we don't sustain our education. Okay, and see, a lot of things have been brought out. Now, what the government of India did was 2008 or something, they brought out what is called as the Institution of Eminence. And I mentioned that earlier, we were also part of the Institution of Eminence. We had applied, we were shortlisted. I had gone to Delhi, I had made a presentation there. Now, what the institution of eminence is looking into is, one thing is multidisciplinary. Okay, courses should be multidisciplinary, and both teaching and research should focus on exceptional high quality. They have said there should be a reasonable mix of domestic and foreign students. It should be what you call, it should have a good proportion of foreign and foreign qualified faculty. Okay, and then it should be amenities for the students comparable with that of global reputed institutions. And the institutions should have a reasonable large campus, all these things. And then see, the main thing is that because of the QS rankings, okay, and it says within a span of 5 years, we should be amongst the top 500, who the institutions of eminence. And within a span of another totally 15 years, we should be amongst the top 100. This is what the institution of eminence has envisaged. Okay, and then now I want to discuss upon some of the things that the national, see, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. What we should do, what we should not do, that has already been debated. Okay, innovation is essential. Everybody accepts. Digital tools need to be used. Yes, because I mentioned yesterday that education is a passport to prosperity. Okay, whether you are an autocrat, whether you are a businessman, whether you are an academician, whether you are an entrepreneur, everything depends upon your education. And what happened is, an educated country prospers. If you're not educated, then that gives to the downfall of that particular this thing. So the national education policy has looked into all these things. So I think if we are going to debate what should we do to innovate, what should we not do, I think it is irrelevant and unnecessary, because we'll be reinventing the wheel. So let me talk about some of the points that they have raised. First thing they have said is increase in international footprints. What do you mean by that? The national education policy, I've just taken the gist. When you say international footprints, that means you need to have students from there coming over to your place, and the students from here going to their place. See, when I had some foreign universities, I take care of collaboration also. I was discussing with them, and I told them that you need to accept the fact that our education system in India is also on the same level playing ground. You should not think that you are on a higher playing ground. Okay, you need to accept that fact. Next thing is innovation index. I spoke about it yesterday. The innovation by the university is measured. See, the innovation index, it is a very, very essential thing, and it is measured by the IPRs that are generated. And IPRs are generated based on your research. Whatever research you do, you develop a product, you develop a prototype, you take it to the market. And once you develop the prototype, you would take it for a patent. Okay, and now see, what happens is the number of patents that the institution generates speaks about the institution. So innovation is very, very essential, and just the innovation index that the NEP speaks about is measured, is quantified by the amount of IPRs that the institution has. And there is what is called as also Global Innovation Index. We are about 42 in the list of 131 countries. There are about, I think, I'm just forgetting, I just gave a talk the other day on IPR. A number of 80 parameters, I think, that are used to measure the Global Innovation Index. And India stands among, it is ranked 42nd, if I'm not mistaken. But it has been declared as one of the most brightest upcoming countries in the world as far as innovation is concerned. Okay, now third thing is internationalization of student mobility. Yes, I spoke about that. You need to have faculty from there coming and developing what you call delivering talks, and you need to have our faculty going there on sabbaticals and spending time understanding how the education has been globalized. Let me tell you, the way we teach and the way pedagogy happens here, it is really ridiculous. Because delivering a talk, delivering a lecture, it is equivalent to a person trying to understand something while he's sleeping. Whereas, same thing, delivering a talk and having a debate or giving a problem, okay, based on which the knowledge is constructed, that is called as constructivism. Okay, knowledge is built upon that. That is the innovation that people are looking at. Okay, you need to construct knowledge. You need to collaborate. You need to give a problem to the students. Let them come out with the answers. Okay, it is not necessary that, give a textbook, ask them to mug the thing, and then go and just vomit in the thing, examination. That is not going to help at all. That is why we are left behind. Okay, we need to have experiential learning, deep learning, flipped learning. A lot of things are there. I don't want to get into the pedagogy. Okay, the next thing is NIRF ranking. We need to, every institution needs to ensure that it goes up in the NIRF ranking. Then we need to ensure that we have relevant and better quality of education that is measured by NBA and NAC. Then autonomy to frame, see, globally competitive. That means choice-based credit system. That means you have some majors and then you are allowing the students to select some minors. Okay, so a student has a choice to study, select his majors and minors. Okay, then autonomy to frame the own curriculum. I think this has been a regular, this thing that there's been a regular, this thing that, sir, our curriculum is outdated, and I've written to the Board of Studies. They are revising the curriculum, and by the time the Board of Studies revise the curriculum, it would have been outdated. We are learning something that is primitive, that has become obsolete. Everything is changing, and if we don't change our education system rapidly in what you call collaboration with the requirements of the industry, we will be left behind. I was speaking to our mechanical engineering faculty and I spoke about industry 4.0. They did not know. I said, what is industry 1? What is industry 2? See, I'm not a mechanical person, I'm an IT person. But our mechanical people do not know what is industry 4.0. When I spoke about cyber physical systems, they don't know. So as faculty and as professors, if we do not know what is going on around us, what are we going to inculcate to our students? What knowledge are we going to imbibe to our students? Okay, then the next thing is that autonomy. Okay, entire ecosystem has to be created to nurture research, pedagogy, etc. Not to nurture research, the National Research Foundation has been established. And they have envisaged to ensure that at the what you call master's level itself, research is taken up. Not just research, paper-based research, but I think industry-based research. Okay, standalone institutions, anyway, I don't want to get into it. The last one that I want to touch upon is multidisciplinary. Okay, so I think our students, when you go to them, they say, Sir, I'm a mechanical person. Why are you getting me into coding? Why are you getting me to Infosys? I'm a biotechnology student. Why should I get into Capgemini? I tell them that irrespective of whichever branch you are in, technology is very, very relevant today, and the technology thread runs through everything. You might be a mechanical engineer and you might be designing a spacecraft. Okay, so your mechanical knowledge is at the back end, and coding is at the front end. You might be a biotechnology engineer, so your biotechnology knowledge is at the back end, and your coding and other things, technology is at the forefront. So whatever engineer you are, okay, whether you might be using artificial intelligence, you might be using IoT, you might be using machine learning, you might be using deep learning, all these are relevant today. In my talk, I did mention, I think on Monday, I delivered a talk to the pharmacy students. I mentioned to them that how artificial intelligence is being used. I don't want to get into this now because I don't have much time. Okay, so I think all these are very, very relevant, and that is why the national education policy has to be imbibed into the students, and then we need to ensure that it is implemented in toto. So basically, I want to conclude, I think, because there are various other speakers. I would like to say teachers, see, because information is available with a click of a mouse. Tons and tons of information is available. So what will the teacher do? Teacher will help, facilitate, instruct, guide, and support the students as it is required. and employers are seeking new skills to increase their competitiveness in a global marketplace. So what they're looking at is to connect, collaborate, learn, create. That is what they're looking at. And what the employees are looking at is, you see, the first test normally, it is to see whether, what is your thinking capacity, whether you're creative or not, whether you're, see, technology can be trained, technology can be done later on. So what they're looking at is, are you able to think out of the box? And the most essential thing is that, do you have good foundation? So basically, I think this is what the students need. And with this, I think we would be innovating, because we as the faculty, we as the teachers, we are the torch bearers, and we have to pass on the beacon, and we need to ensure that our students who are going to be the future citizens of India are enlightened, and they build up a much more enlightened India, they build up a much more innovative India, and take this forward. Thank you very much.
Couldn't agree more with you, sir. Some of the really insightful and futuristic points you have made, I cannot stress enough upon this fact, how amazing points you have made. But I'm wondering right now here, Mr. KRISHNAGANDHI, whether you want to add anything upon what our mentor has said.
Yes, ma'am. Here, Sir says the milestones of the students and the contribution of teachers and whole nations. Acharya ranking, K.I.T.E.S ranking, global innovation ranking. As on now, global innovation ranking, 48th position. Before 5 years, we positioned in the 87th ranking. Because this ranking improved not only school educations, but plus school education plus innovation concepts. 2016 onwards, deeply our government promote to the innovations among the students and faculties. Lot of the contest will be conducted. So first, where interest we create means students try to participate the events. So then only we know the where we are and what we learn to reach the targets, and also create the networking. So that networking will helpful to shining the students projects also. And then how to reach the rankings also. So every rankings, ARIA ranking, and then K.I.T.E.S ranking is have the some parameters. So that parameters is major focus on the innovations. So that innovations where will be created. So that means students only in align with the faculties. If suppose you allocated on a project means every final year have projects. So at that time, the teachers give the more liberal chance to students what they know or students' interest. So at the projects will be selected. It is the right direction. Teachers also shares some basic concepts to the students. Then only students understand the what are the things required to develop the projects, and also develop the skills. If suppose school student means Tinker, Scratch. So Scratch is the programming languages. Macame. So if student interests the hardware, use the Macame. If college students means learn the Python, Java. So Java programming help to create the app. Nowadays we are using simply app. So lot of the application oriented projects include into the smaller app for the society. And then hardware means Arduino and Raspberry Pi. These all the things are learned teacher also and students also. Then only if students face anything difficulty means ask to free ask to the teachers. Teacher also free feel to deliver to the students. Then only student uplift, innovation will be uplift, our country will uplift, our country economy will uplift, all the rankings we will improve. For example, global innovation ranking. Before 5 years, we 80 7th position. Now we in 48th position. So these rankings are calculated the WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organizations. So that parameters are the innovations. Last 5 years we are consistent performance are provided. This is the official statement from WIPO. So we proud. So our Indian students, we all feel too proud. We are consistently giving the performance, and then Yuva incubators, a lot of the challenges also conducted, and that kind of contest also provide the financial supports, and all the patent rights and copyrights support also given. So students will encourage to move on the next level. Before 10 years means it's highly difficult how to go and how to reach. It's highly difficult how to get fund. Nowadays, a lot of and the NGOs also provide the funds. Even participate the contest. If contest nowadays contest announce the prizes 50,000, 1 lakh. For example, Smart India Hackathon. So 1 lakh is the prize. If your idea is valid, you also get the money. Your idea is worthy, your idea will be patented. If your idea will be patented, you give the license to the manufacturers, you get the royalties. For example, Covaxin is the licensed product. Foreign countries, we got the license and develop the vaccines to distribute to the Indian peoples. So this kind of the things also major. So innovation is the major role for country and country economy also. So both students and teachers also play a vital role. So keep on the updating the skills. So you updating the skills means we are moving on the other compete with the world, because 130 country is there. Small cell countries also listed in the top 20 countries. But we are the huge populations. We have the human resources high. We are the innovative people. We are the hub of the innovation also and the knowledge also. But later stage we are eroded or corroded. But again we reframe again to back to positions. Try to stimulate your innovative mind to reach the targets.
Okay,
that's fine, ma'am.
Everybody is liking the session, and we are really glad that you all of you are liking the session, that a session is of a liking to you. Let's move to our third speaker. Let's see what our third mentor has to say about all of this. Dr. MATHIPURANI. Ma'am, what do you want to add to all of this that our previous speakers mentors have added?
Thank you all. Good evening to everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. Nice seeing you, SUMAIRA, again. Yeah, so this is about the innovation again. That was the first panel discussion what we had earlier. And now with respect to Make in India. So if you see the Make in India concept, we are inviting the foreign direct investors to come into India and to start the manufacturing unit here, because we are supposed to be the labor intensive country. So where we are not a capital intensive country, but we are labor intensive country, which means that we have one of the largest younger generation population and at a very, very economical cost of human resources here. And that's one big competency what India has. And that's the competency we are also promoting, telling that we do have good labor force and please use the resources here. And that's how the central government has promoted from 2014 onwards. A lot of central government efforts have been taken up to improve the global competitiveness ranking. So the World Economic Forum also ranks this as doing business indicator, telling that's a measure which measures the country's competitiveness. Why one should come and invest in our country? So there are about 11 pillars or 11 parameters based on which a person in MNC will decide whether I should go and invest in this country or not. So amongst that are coming the construction permits, the electricity, the infrastructure, and the innovation index, and then the technology competency, technology compatibility, and the skilled labor force, and then how fast you get the approvals to start a business. So these are the some of the parameters based on which the competitiveness index of a nation is measured. So it's by the World Economic Forum, the global institution, which measures this. And very positive thing is that we have jumped from very, very long, like before 10 years, we were 130 rankings. It was very, very, very bad. Like we were behind 100 and we came to 100, we came to 70, and now we have come to 63. So in this last 5-6 years, the central government has taken huge efforts. We are aware that where we are lagging. So we were lagging in all these infrastructural aspects and the permits and things like that. So we have jumped to 63rd position now. So that's one of the good thing what we all have to relish. We are not bad, so we are improving. So that's one point which I want to tell it in the initial talk. So therefore, all of us are happy that everybody is surprised to see that India has jumped to 60. It is never in the history we have reached this position. So it's now in 2020, we have reached 63rd position. But even then, if you see which are the parameters we still need to improve, we have improved in the construction permits and in the electricities and in the infrastructure to a certain extent. We are showing a positive sign, positive marks in those categories. But there are certain areas of still needs to improve. Very specifically to which we can pick it to relevant to our discussion today is the innovation. As sir rightly pointed out, IQBAL sir was telling about the ranking. So we do have the areas of improvement is in the innovation. And one more important thing is that about the skilled workforce. We do have huge workforce. We do have one of the largest youth population here in India when you compare to the world other countries. But then when it comes to the skilled workforce, the Dell computers, which is open for foreign investment, they made a big survey, comparative study, where to go and invest, because they had the capital. They just wanted to find out which will be their most productive nation to start a company there, to manufacture the computers and other hardwares. To your surprise, it was Cuba which was selected later. While we are bigger, more bigger, and we have more bigger workforce, we would wonder why the Dell computers went to Cuba. The one main reason, if you take the case study, is about the skill set. It's about the technology compatibility of the skill set, about the flexibility of the workforce, about the readiness to learn something new. Those are the 3-4 factors which was studied by one of the professors, presented in a paper, telling that it's just because the government was so friendly. Not only that, so even our government is very friendly. We are also opening up with all tax concessions and then subsidies. All that is happening. But then the main important reason, because these workforce need to be skilled workforce, and they have to be technology compatible. Though you don't have the technology, but when I give you the technology, are you able to catch it up? Are you ready to learn that? Are you flexible for that? So are you having that motivation? So how is the productivity? So the individual productivity of every single individual compared to India and other countries, I'm not telling we are bad, we have to improve. So if you take Chinese and Cubans, if you see the rate of productivity per person is really amazing, and we need to scale up to that level. So we need to grow in that level. So the first point, what I would like to put forth for today's discussion is that we are improving. The government is taking good measures. The area still has to be improved. One is this innovation. The next one is the skilled workforce. We all want employment. So that's why this initiative of Make in India itself is to improve the employment. So how do we improve the employment? So the one outlook what the government had was, when large companies come inside our country, then we were able to get more of manufacturing units, and then that will give more of employment for the society people. So that was the one main motive. So therefore, everybody's standard of living raises and the economy also raises. So that was the motive of the Make in India. So when it comes to the real platform, the real truth, what hit us back was when you see the skilled workforce base, the technology compatible workforce base was not to the required level. That's very important point. That is one thing. And the second thing is that how do we inculcate? So how do we imbibe in the education sector? So how do we promote this? So the second important point is that when there is a company coming inside, looking forward for the workforce and for the infrastructure for the manufacturing, the next thing what the company will see is the supplier base. So the supplier base. So if I want to put a large manufacturing unit, there are hundreds and thousands of inputs and suppliers which needs to be there for that particular production unit, right? So when I have good suppliers, base in the country when the MSME segment is able to supply me all the required other support systems. If that is therefore the strength is required for the MSME segment. So the first is to improve the labor force, improve the current youth labor force to be more upskilled. So that is first thing. And second thing is that to develop the MSME sector in our nation, because in every other nation, if you take the most developed nation like India and like USA and UK, for example, in USA, more than 90% of the GDP or of the wealth created by in US is because of the small businesses. It's a big surprise that for all of us that more than 90% of the wealth creation of the past 5, 6 years to 10 years is because of the small businesses. If it's just to compare, how does a small business can make so much of wealth, can create so much of wealth for a nation? It's just because of the innovation. It's just because of the individual innovations that's happening. It's the culture or the environment in the education system. You can take all the innovations or whatever we see now, the startups, all from the Silicon Valley, right? So the Silicon Valley becomes an innovation hub there. So that actually starts from the education segment. So for us, the two requirements is to improve the skill set of the youth. Number two, to improve the MSME industries. So how does these two can be connected in an education industry? The education institution has to be directly connected to the industry problems. So they have, as I always tell, the assessment has to be based on a student, how he is able to give an innovative solution for a problem that is presented by the industry. Because the MSME sector is not able to scale up beyond a certain limit because their survival itself is a big question. So how do they scale then? So scaling up is only possible for all Silicon Valley companies, not for our MSMEs. That's the point here. Yes, it can be possible. How can it be possible? It's only by connecting the young minds to throw light on the solutions what the MSME is right now facing. If you take any segment, any industry, but the unorganized sector and all the MSME sectors, they have huge problems in the survival itself. So if the education industry as groups can attend the problems as assessments, as if they're promoted, if they're encouraged to connect the industry problems and come up with solutions, yes, then the MSME gets more stronger, the supply segment gets more stronger. That's one side. And when the students are encouraged to come up with such kind of solution mindset, then they are becoming more skilled as well. The attitude changes. They are more learnable. They are more flexible then. They are more looking forward for solving something. However big or small the organization, it's always solving something. So that's a mindset. That's a learning mindset. That's the solving mindset which is most required, whether it is Google or whether it is the small engineering unit which is there in the next street. So these two things. So improving the skill set, improving the mindset of bringing to the solution side is very, very important. And that's where the Make in India scheme can be supported with these two things. So the government level of things was able to be addressed by that level, but this is the ground level. This is where the HR, the Human Resource Development Department, we as a teaching faculty, I think that the education institution has to be looking this in this perspective. And the third important point, what I would like to tell you is here is to improve this ecosystem. It's not easy. Anything can be told, anything can be easily said, but to implement that in the education system, it's really, really hard. We need more time and energy and funds as well. So for solving all these problems or whatever the problems is connected with the industry, R&D has to be very strong. So how the research and development can be strong at an institution, it has to be funded rightly. So the funding is very, very important. So whatever research, what we do now as a faculty, I don't think that's directly helping the industry as IQBAL said. So it's not just for papers, it has to be for some developmental purpose. It has to be having some impact. So whatever the research the institution is making should add value for the industry. So therefore, that is the next thing. So how do you get the funds? Do we wait until the funded projects sanctioned by the government? In UK, the researchers of the institutions are funded directly by the industries. The funding should not stop them. the professors and the team of the students who are in the research, they should not be stopped because of lack of funds. So supply of funds is the third thing. So that has to be rooted through the industries. There should be direct connect to the industry and institution. And that's the point which I would like to share today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Amazing points made by all of our panelists today. Now we are going to move forward. We are running out of time as well. We have to keep that as well in the mind. But we have a question from Catherine, and she is asking, let's move to, let's go again in circles. What do you say? So so Dr. Iqbal, the question is, reinforcement is a major criteria that boosts the creative thoughts. How could teachers reinforce young children to think differently? So that question I would propose to, with due respect, Dr. Iqbal.
Thanks, SUMAIRA. See, I would just like to add some things to the previous speakers, this thing also, then I'll answer the question.
Of course.
Okay. Definitely, I do agree with the previous speaker that we are improving. Okay. But I've seen some expert comments where they have said that Indian education system cannot be crawling. And they have said Indian education system needs to have a leapfrog this thing. They need to adopt some, what you call, they need to jump across and they have said that we are way behind. Yes. Now, see, one thing is relearning, okay, and reinforcing our thoughts. Okay, all these things are essential. Now, how do you reinforce? Now, see, reinforcement cannot happen with the existing way things are being taught. I've said that clearly. Okay, so I think now how do you reinforce yourself? Just by adopting the current pedagogy? No, you're not reinforcing yourself at all. So what you need is, I said experiential learning. Okay, experiential learning by doing. See, I was sitting in a US university, University of Illinois at North Rockford, just off Chicago. I was sitting with the professor at the back, and we were watching the students, undergraduate students. They were given a live project where they had to devise an economic usage space for a warehouse. And these people came and projected. They said the path is A, B, C. This is the path. An American student got up and said, no, I don't agree with you. A, B, C is not the path. C, D, F is the path. Then I told the professor, why don't you intervene? He said, no, let it go on. So I think experiential learning, I think like Madam said, we need to tie up with the industry and ensure that we have industry connectors there. So what happens is Massachusetts University has clearly said, just by giving a lecture, students are not able to understand the thing. Okay, we are just trying, we are exam oriented. I think that has to be removed. We can reinforce our thoughts, we can imbibe the learning, and we can have real learning by building upon the knowledge. That is called as constructivism. Okay, and then what you call problem-based learning or project-based learning. That is how we need to reinforce ourselves and reinforce learning.
Now, sir, let's move to Mr. KRISHNAGANDHI, and let's also take the question as well, as we are running out of time, but we are having such an amazing session. And also, I had a question for Dr. Iqbal as well, which I am afraid we are not going to be able to carry on right now. But the question is of Catherine, and we have to take the question. So the question is, reinforcement is a major criteria that boosts the creative thoughts. How could teachers reinforce young children to think differently? That's a question we're going to take from Catherine. And sir, with due respect, Mr. KRISHNAGANDHI.
Yes, ma'am. That means the motivation is the one of the partner. Where struggling the students. So at that time, you find what are the strugglings are faced the students. At that time, you help to how to overcome the struggling situation. For example, if you develop the app, but the students, they difficult to learn the codings. If teacher knows, give the shortcuts how to learn the codings to develop the app. In this way, we encourage the students and give a time to learn that particular skills, and even give time and give the freedom to learn the students. Where if suppose that student able to understand or cannot move on to next stage, teacher will support to them. Then only students feel the teachers help to me. So for psychological understanding will be created, then students will move on to the next level. If not, you give the motivational in your school or in your college, your alumni or in your classes, or list out the achievements. The students are achieve the in project especially. Normally, all colleges and schools are list out the roles of honors for the CGPA. But innovation and creativity not dependent on the CGPA. So in these aspects, by the particular teacher promote the innovations based on the list. So in this aspect, the students will be inspired. Oh, our alumni student will be work out on this. So they are achieved this, or that student asked to help the alumni. So networking will be developed. So at that time, all the hesitations will be avoided. So not only this level is not enough, so move on the further level will be understand. In this way only understand the possible, but don't put the grade as studying students only to the project, below average students not to the project. This is the negative opinion. This is the completely avoided. If any teachers or any students having below average students is better to do the project. I hope I answered this question.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna Gandhi. So, Catherine, we hope that you have got your required answer. There are so many things, to be honest, that we could still talk about, that we could still brainstorm on. But also, we have to, keep in mind that we are running out of time, and we also have to wind up the session because. So let's finish this session very quickly. I hope I want to, at the end, I want to thank all of our mentors, our such inspirational figures, such inspirational personalities that have, been with us today. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. This sounds like a cliche. It's a sort of like a cheesy line to thank everyone for being with us, for giving us your time. But I have to, I cannot stress enough upon this fact that you guys, you have been so generous for being with us today and for sharing your such, this amazing knowledge that you have gathered throughout these years, and you're sharing with us so easily. We want to thank you. More respect to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Perfect. So everybody,
all the very best for all the students and the participants. And thank you, Sumaira, again. Thank you, all the panelists. And thank you for the opportunity for the Yuva. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to all of you. I think thanks to the panelists. Thanks.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for the students and faculties. Take it as a positive to move further. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So everybody, we are going to share a feedback link, which is, always what we do. And do fill the feedback link and do tell us what your thoughts were about today's session. And again, we are going to, I want to make this very quick. We're going to add you in the WhatsApp group. It will be us, K.I.T.E.S Education and Yuva IncubatED. So don't be alarmed if you're added into a WhatsApp group. It's just for, notification purposes. Thank you so much, Dr. MATHIPURANI. Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna Gandhi. Thank you so much, Mr. Iqbal, Dr. Iqbal, sir. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day ahead, as much as left of it. Beautiful vibes. Thank you. This is me, SUMAIRA, signing.
Thank you. Have a great evening too.